What's good YouTube? This is Fresh Pair back with another video. Today's discussion is what I call Tech Focus. This is where we try to look at some of the technical components of a shoe. For today's edition, we will be talking a little more in depth about the Flyknit in the Nike KD10. My performance review for the Nike KD10 is already available. You can look it up later in my YouTube channel in case you missed it. But for now, it's Tech Focus time, so without further delay, let's get in focus. You probably already know what Flyknit is, but just a quick refresher, Flyknit is made of polyester yarn. The yarn is knitted together with precision in order to create a seamless, form-fitting and lightweight upper material. The knitting pattern varies. It's more open in areas that require flexibility or ventilation and tighter in areas that demand support. When compared to the Flyknit in the KD9, the thing I like most about the Flyknit in the KD10 is that it has targeted zones of stretch. In other words, there are parts of the Flyknit in the KD10 that stretch where it is most needed, in as much as there are parts that mostly retain their firmness because that is what they are needed to do. It basically highlights what Flyknit can do when implemented properly. One area of the Flyknit in the KD10 that has adequate stretch is at the top of the midfoot, including the instep. It is where the traditional tongue and throat should have been, but because the construction of the KD10 is a booty type, there is no separate tongue and throat piece. Another part of the KD10 that has adequate stretch is the collar, which is practically what you may call the mouth of the shoe. The quality of stretch of the Flyknit at the mouth is practically the same as the quality of the stretch of the Flyknit at the tongue and throat areas. The similarity in the quality of stretch is not accidental, which brings us to the reasons why the Flyknit at the mouth and the top of the midfoot stretches with ease in the first place. The first reason is that the individual Flyknit threads used in these areas are thin and have greater elasticity. The second reason, which goes hand in hand with the first, is that the pattern in which the Flyknit threads are woven together. Specifically, they are woven really close together, and it complements the elastic property of the Flyknit thread by having what may be called, for the sake of our discussion, as a trampoline effect. Stretch the Flyknit from the inside out, and the perimeter of the stretched area acts like a spring. The surrounding Flyknit does so by pulling the stretched area back to its original state. Other than the top of the midfoot and the collar area, the rest of the Flyknit in the KD10 has no significant stretch. The Flyknit sections in the KD10 that have no significant stretch include the toe box, medial, and lateral. When I say no significant stretch, I mean minimal. There is some stretch, but the elongation is too minor. This minimal stretching is caused by several factors. One is that the Flyknit thread used in these areas is thicker by way of the grouping of the threads. For simplicity, let's call it grouping. It's like a rope that is composed of multiple strands, except that they are not twined or intertwined. Nevertheless, this gives the Flyknit low elasticity. The grouping also strengthens the Flyknit threads, making the low elastic sections more durable by preventing them from ripping apart from high stress and consistent torque. An equally important reason is the weaving pattern of the Flyknit groupings. The threads are aligned and woven horizontally like small locks, both at the top and bottom portions of the sides and the toe box of the KD10. They do look like they are aligned and woven vertically, but that's only because of the vertical demarcation. Specifically, there are separate Flyknit threads that run vertically or cut across the horizontal Flyknit groupings. These Flyknit demarcations provide extra reinforcement to the already firm horizontal Flyknit groupings. Both the weaving pattern and the vertical demarcations give the Flyknit its rigidity. The zones of stretch in the KD10 are absent in the KD9, and it explains why it is difficult to fit the KD9 in the first place. First, the fact that the top of the midfoot as well as the instep of the KD10 can stretch allows you to fit the shoe more easily regardless of the width and height of your feet. The Flyknit itself adjusts to your feet's contour or shape. Second, the lacing system can further tighten or loosen the fit at the top of the midfoot and instep. These two things in the KD10 are absent in the KD9, which really makes it a tough task to fit the KD9. What is also interesting here is that the Flyknit upper of the KD10 is a single piece, which is how Flyknit is meant to be. In other words, the shoe uses a seamless construction for the upper while implementing rigidity and stretch in defined sections. Some may take it for granted or see nothing innovative about it, but from a technical standpoint, it's basically an innovation when compared to the materials used in traditional shoe uppers where you need more pieces to achieve multiple functions. But in the KD10, all that is needed is the one-piece Flyknit upper. Overall, I like the way that the Flyknit is implemented in the KD10. From a technical standpoint, which is what this is all about, the Flyknit in the KD10 is an upgrade when compared to the KD9, especially in terms of implementing multiple functions in a single piece. The Flyknit in the KD10 is not simply for show or for visual pleasure. It also has its intended function and it achieves it quite well. It's basically both form and function rolled into one. That's it for today's edition of Tech Focus. Do let me know your thoughts about the Flyknit in the Nike KD10. Post your thoughts and questions in the comments section. While you're at it, subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos, like my Facebook page as well. Follow me on Instagram for regular updates. You can also check my blog for more info, including performance reviews, news, and other interesting things. This is Fresh Pair signing out for today. Thanks for watching. Peace.